a competition with the world, and I want America to win.
Donald Trump was talking tough on trade even before he became US president. And now the man he chose to put America first is taking the fight to the global trade regulator the United States helped set up.
I agree with President Trump.
US Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer has warned the World Trade Organization of cataclysmic consequences if it doesn't fall in line with his government's stance on trade with China. But China argues it only joined the global trade body after it was assured it would eventually be classified as a market economy. And experts say the US move to block this from happening is to protect its homegrown businesses from stiffer competition from China.
If they're not recognized as a market economy, a lot of the European nations as well as the US can maintain much higher tariffs against Chinese products.
This isn't the first multilateral arrangement the current US administration has targeted. President Trump pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, saying the 11-nation free trade agreement doesn't serve US interests. And his trade representative is renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement with Mexico and Canada.
We need an international trading system that functions the way it was negotiated, and that the United States must be ready to work with like-minded trading partners to ensure fair trade and to encourage market efficiency.
But under current WTO rules, China should be classified as a market economy. The same rulebook also negates US claims of currency manipulation by China.
The US was the one that invited China to join the WTO many years ago, and the U.S. had, no problem with competing against China at that point. But given that China has become much more competitive on the world stage, suddenly the U.S. doesn't want to play by these global rules.
Despite criticism from experts, the US president is simply following through on his campaign promises. And if that creates more jobs in the United States and lowers its trade deficit with major trading partners, Trump can claim victory whether he plays by the rules or not. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Now, our editor at large, Craig Copetas, joins us from Paris. Craig, thanks for being with us once again. Now, what exactly is the US trying to achieve here by saying that China is not a market economy?
Well, it's this carrot and stick approach, and I think it all orbits around the North Korean question. China had apparently promised Trump that it would intercede with North Korea. Whatever intercession China has done obviously has not worked. A few days ago, an American student was brought home who had been arrested in North Korea, and he died in the United States. There's a lot of anti-Korean feeling there now, and a lot of that anti-Korean feeling is spilling over into anti-Chinese feeling. So I think a lot of this, in the first instance, has to do with politics. What you're seeing Trump doing here, he's creating a new type of economics based on ideology. Call it idioeconomics, if you will. And his argument in this, if we read between the lines, is, well, China is a communist country. So if you have a communist country, how can it have a free market economy? That's really going deep into the philosophical weeds, but the Trump administration seems to be willing and eager to go there.
They seem to be ignoring about 3 decades of commercial history with China,
right.
Of course. Now, the
Yes.
US also putting pressure on Cuba recently. I mean, Cuba and China, miles apart in terms of the size of their economies. But there are some similarities here between these two strategies, right?
Well, you're right, Azar. There's an interlocking here, and it has to do with the fact that you have companies in China and companies in Cuba which are shells for the military. In Cuba, it's a company called Gaesa. In China, it's an operation known as Poly. These are companies that are controlled by the military, and all cash that comes into the country, goods and services, are controlled. Extensive control is through these companies, and Trump doesn't like that. This to the American administration is a threat. And the reason they see this as a threat is that Trump has been hoping to use this capital injection as kind of soft power.
Indeed.
And he doesn't want to see U.S. money going to the heads of the military.
Indeed. Craig Copetas, afraid we're running out of time. Thanks so much once again.